Hello drummers, Gary Williams here, your Drumset Mastermind and creator of the Drumset Artistry Mastermind Facebook group. Glad you're tuning in to this video. We are hitting 1,450 plus members, so this group is expanding all the time. Thank you all for contributing, helping one another, and being such a supportive audience. Today I'd like to talk about drumming diet. What do I mean by a drumming diet? Well, I'm going to compare your physical diet to your drumming diet, meaning to be a healthy person, you need, to have a good mental capacity to deal with some emotional and, other issues that come up. You need to obviously have good nutrition, good hydration, some exercise, have time for fun for play. And then, of course, as you're educating yourself, you're studying certain things, special things that are of interest to you, things that can help you improve your drumming or just expand yourself as a person. So when it comes to a drumming diet, there's basically three areas that you're going to be focusing on. So when you're trying to figure out how to improve, the first thing is listening to recordings. The second thing is listening to live performances. The third thing is practicing exercises, usually out of drum books. And the fourth thing is playing with music, musicians, real live people making music. And so obviously the goal of everything that we're doing is to lead toward this ability to become a great musician and play on a team or a band and really contribute to the whole sound of the ensemble. Now, when we get into the subjects of listening, what should we listen to? Well, obviously the stuff that you're exposed to, the stuff that you're interested in. And sometimes our ruts in our drumming have to do with our listening diet. We're just listening to the same kind of music, so we're not really feeding ourselves any new kind of nutrients in terms of ideas for grooves and fills. So expanding your listening palette can actually expand your drumming ideas, certainly. A lot of people get hooked into certain kinds of music and don't want to branch out. I was known for a pretty good drummer in my community. When I go to certain parties, people go, "Oh, Gary, what do you want to listen to?" And I'd say, find something you think I've never heard. Because I started to discover that if they just played the same stuff I heard, it's like been there, done that, already knew it, wasn't challenging me, wasn't giving me any new ideas. So I can't stress enough the importance to expanding your listening palette to develop more creative ideas on the drums. Now, in terms of practicing exercises, there are three kinds of exercises that you want to work on. Technique exercises. These would be like rudiments. You can go through some exercises with your feet. I certainly went through all the 40 rudiments and studied massive videos by Murray Spivak, Henry Adler, Joe Morello, Jim Chapin, Tommy Igoe, Dave Weckl, Neil Peart, Steve Smith. I mean, it's countless videos, Jojo Mayer. And I really enjoy the study of technique, whether it's for hands or feet. Then there's coordination exercises, and these have to do with whatever the style of music is that you're playing. You're going to be playing a jazz drum set a lot differently than a rock drum kit in terms of the way the style of music is supposed to be played, the sound. Jazz music is more cymbal driven, rock music is more drum driven. So when it comes to determining the kinds of exercises that you want to work on for your coordination development, that always has to do with the kind of music that you ultimately want to play. And then there's reading exercises. And these are having to do with developing, as I've referred to in previous videos, musical literacy, where you actually learn how to read the language of music, notes and rests, how to speak them, how to count them. I often say how to spell them. I like the analogy of reading musical notation as to reading letters in the English language. So you want to make sure that you balance your diet. Now, I've written an article called How to Practice. It's in all three of my published books. It was published by Modern Drummer Magazine twice, by Band World, and it's an article that really talks about how to break down a practice routine. So if this is something that you really are not sure about, I'm a big proponent of time management skills. I believe in, basically coming up with a plan or planning the work and then working the plan. So whenever I would really try to develop my skills on the drum set, it usually started by sitting down with a piece of paper and a pencil and brain draining the things that I really would like to learn how to play better versus the things I don't know anything about that I'd like to learn. Maybe a samba beat. If you've never played any world beat rhythms, that would be a good first one to try as an example. And then after I would sort of figure out what it is that I really wanted to do, I would try to prioritize these things into technique exercises, reading exercises, coordination exercises. So I'd usually start out with my rudiments, then I would go from there into a book on counting and reading, in there into a book on coordination. Sometimes I would just jump from the rudiments into the coordination book because there's counting and reading involved in that. And then I'd always end with playing music, whether it would be listening to recording, transcribing the drum beats, road mapping the song, transcribing the drum fills, or if I'm working on charts for some jazz festival performances I'm doing coming up here in about a week. I got a book of tunes I'll be going through and looking at those. So I always, at the end of my practice session, try to save that time for dessert, which is to me playing music. But if you start out just jamming on the drums, you'll probably get lost into what I call drum land and never come back and want to be disciplined about focusing on your weaknesses. One of the problems with drumming is that it's so fun to do that you just want to spend a bunch of time having fun. And some of the problems that we have as drummers is that we don't work on our weaknesses. And some of us don't even know what kinds of things to work on to help us develop our skills. So that's where I come in. So if you want some help with time management skills, you feel like you're an undisciplined drummer, you want some help organizing a practice routine, that's an area I'm very comfortable with. So you can private message me and I can give you the same results I give my other clients, which is we sit down and we come up with a practice chart, a practice plan, and you can post it and we can get things done. So contact me if you'd like some help getting organized, coming up with a plan, and knowing what to practice. I would have to evaluate your playing and get more information about what kind of music you want to go into, what direction you're headed, because there's a lot of opinions, but the one that matters the most is yours, and it has to do with your personal passions and the direction you want to go, musically speaking. So get a hold of me if you want some help, but until then, I probably won't be doing too many lives next week. I'll be teaching at a jazz camp. I may be able to pop one in there, but until then, continue practicing, be nice to yourself, and contact me if you're really ready to change your drumming game, because that's what I do best, is help drummers shift and overcome their limiting beliefs so that they can become the drummers that they want to be. All right, have a great day, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.